Great moments are born from great opportunity.
The big challenge for fossil energy is carbon dioxide emissions. The concern is that we're going to get regulation from the federal level to reduce CO2 emissions.
Well, I was born to coal miner's daughter.
Kentucky's 92% coal-fired, so we've got a lot of exposure in terms of that. The upside for that is that we have very low-cost, reliable power, so we would prefer to not lose that. One is chemical scrubbing, meaning using a reaction like an amine to capture CO2 out of flue gas, purify it, and then you would inject it underground for long-term storage. Algae is kind of the other option. It's using sunlight essentially as the way of capturing the CO2. The algae grow very, very quickly and will directly, these are autotrophic, so they will directly use sunlight, the energy from sunlight, to directly convert CO2 to biomass. When they do that, we can then capture, we can then collect them, harvest them, and use them to produce more energy or other products. Basically, we wash the CO2 into the water, and we have such a large surplus that it's able to strip the CO2 out. The algae eat it. It's just driven by the equilibriums.
What are some obstacles you're facing in your research?
One of the big issues, technical issues that we have actually solved was how do you remove water from algae? If you just collect the algae, you're looking at a gram per liter of water. What we found is that with the correct strain and using some basic techniques from what you do for coal processing in a prep plant, we're able to get the algae to autoflocculate, meaning they'll clump together, become heavy enough that they'll settle, and so they'll settle very quickly, and so we can do basically a decanting separation very efficiently.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something.
What are some obstacles you're facing in your research?
Algae don't think, but you would think they think. They're looking at optimizing their own life cycle, and so they're not always doing what we might necessarily prefer. Practical things like keeping them from dying can be a big deal. You may have a culture that'll go weeks, and you're collecting data and you're doing all the work on it, and then it dies. Then have to go back and figure out what caused it. It's usually some perturbation or something like that, but every time that happens, you are starting over with how do you get thousands of gallons of algae to grow. Right now we're in the process of installing a demonstration unit at Dale Power Station in Winchester. So we'll add more units to go to about a 50,000 gallon system. That's pretty good size. That's as big as the area we have. That'll take about a year to do that. A couple more years before we really have everything down. But this year is critical in that we're scaling to a large enough size at this point that we can start doing some of the engineering balances and some of the economic calculations around the process to determine how feasible is it on a large scale. I think it's a possibility. I wouldn't claim that this is the solution. It's a fairly complicated system. Doing it on a large scale, like we produce electricity, hasn't been done. I mean, we're nowhere close to that. So it's certainly encouraging that we haven't run into anything that says you can't do it.